September 2nd, 2014. You have some observations to share with me. We've got this thing up in a petri dish. This crazy little thing doing stuff. So let's make 2 columns. Okay, we have 2 columns. Evidence, observations that you've made that would lead you to believe that that thing is alive. Observations you have made that would lead you to believe that it's not alive. So, who's our first victim? Who wants to give me one piece of evidence in either column? So you got to tell me which column it's in and what your evidence is. Okay, Ben. Okay, so the living column because it is moving. Did anybody else have that? Did everybody else have that? That's a pretty common one. Okay. Anybody have a piece of evidence in the non-living? Okay, I'll do shirt color lottery. You guys don't know what that is yet. I pick a shirt color, and somebody has to answer. So somebody wearing a blue or gray shirt. So we've got lost energy or slowed down. That's evidence for the living. What about you, Tyler?
For living, it seems to be attracted.
Okay, attracted, you're implying that you know what it's thinking or feeling. So let's say it moved towards them. That would be observation. Okay. Moved to food. All right. Anybody got any evidence in the non-living? Somebody wearing white or red. Got a couple of reds, got a white. So we have stops and goes. That it has periods of activity, periods of inactivity, and that's evidence for non-living. Anybody else have anything in non-living? So we have it only moves in patterns. That would be evidence that it's not living. So we have as evidence for it being a living thing the fact that it's moving. Do non-living things ever move? So let's think of a non-moving thing. Pardon? A rock! That is exactly what I was hoping somebody would say. That's fantastic. Maybe moving all by itself is not evidence of life. If we've got rocks moving up in Death Valley. What about losing energy, slowing down? Is that always necessarily evidence for life? Is it? Excuse me. I have a couple neat things in the physics cabinets. Well, there we go. Is that going to keep going forever? Keep moving forever? Is it going to slow down? Is it going to lose energy? So is losing energy necessarily evidence of life? Not necessarily. Don't know what just happened there. What about moving towards food? Is that necessarily evidence of life? Or, I mean, actually, a lot of them settle far away from the food. If I put a pizza at the bottom of a hill and a bowling ball at the top of the hill, will the bowling ball move towards the food? Yes. Yes, it will. Is that evidence that it's alive? No. Now, that said, don't feel too beat up. Do a lot of living things move? Yeah. So, that's not bad. Do a lot of living things lose energy over their lifespan or slow down over their lifespan? Yeah. Do a lot of living things move towards food? If I put a pizza on a table in the cafeteria and you were on the other end of the table, would you move towards the pizza? Probably. You know, a lot of living things do move towards food. Is it necessarily evidence that it's a living thing? Not necessarily. Okay, so let's look at the non-living. So stops and goes. Were you thinking of a comparison to something? I forget who that was. Were you thinking of a comparison to something else that's non-living?
No, actually.
Okay. Were you? I don't remember. I think it was a male. Is it you, Tyler? Was it? Okay. I don't quite understand that as evidence of non-living. Like a machine that stops and goes? or something. I'm not sure. Moves in patterns. So moves only in a set pattern, doesn't seem to have any sort of intelligence about it. I'm trying to think of living things that move that way. Well, I mean, there are animals that patrol their territory, and it's a fixed pattern. A lot of people argue that that doesn't have intelligence. Does motion in only a pattern definitely mean that you're not a living thing, that it's not a living thing? Not necessarily. Can you actually tell if this is a living thing from where you're sitting? Mm-mm. You think I'm ever going to tell you what it is? I'll go to my grave with my secret. Can we determine if something's living? Is it that easy? So some of the other things people said, looks like a cell. Well, it does, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what cells look like and how cells behave. We're kind of peek over your shoulder. Okay. We can't tell. So if you flip that paper over, we're going to do a little bit of brainstorming. So on number 2, you are going to write a definition of life. So not, and I want to make it very clear, Zach. Okay. I want to make it really clear that we've got living versus not living, which is different than alive and dead. Okay. Different than alive and dead. So, pardon? Well, we're not even there. We're not even there. We're just talking about a definition that you can apply to any living thing, and you say this will catch all living things. Okay? So, number 2 is homework. I'm going to give you time to work on it right now. When you walk in tomorrow, you have to have that one complete on this piece of paper. And we're going to compare notes there. And then we're going to work on numbers 3 and 4. Okay? Yes. Yes, sir. Aha, put them in the box. You know what will happen if you hand them to me? Yeah, the one marked biology. Thank you, sir. So number 2 is homework, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. So you've got time right now to work on it. Definition. You got like 2 minutes to write. If you don't finish it here, you have to have it done for tomorrow. Okay? Does anybody go to Mrs. Ash's class next? So here. You're going past your room? Can you give her that bag? Are you done? Yeah. Good share.
What's it say? Give it a name. Does it ask for an email? Yeah, it says give you it's Heather. It says give your untitled document.